Sandra was tough to compete against, and it was always a great game against Sandra.
A fierce competitor and a perfectionist, someone who was passionate about the game, someone that was a team player but also a team leader.
Totally focused. There's absolutely nothing going through her mind other than the weight she needs to throw and the target she needs to hit and what she needs to do to execute the shot.
Calm, yet very excitable inside. She was never afraid, always willing to take that extra step and spoke her mind. She never hid from anything, and she was a confident person.
She was very grounded in what she did, and I think that's what drew people to her. She came across as a girl from Saskatchewan that just loved the sport of curling and loved her teammates and loved the life that she was leading.
Because we came from the east, we used to say, those Saskatchewan girls, they must eat nails for breakfast and spit them at us. And I just think it was just the discipline they had.
There is no one who was as fierce and determined and driven to be the best than Sandra.
Sandra had a look in her eyes, and that star power was what she played her best for. And a champion has that look, and Sandra had all of that.
Even though she was tough and ferocious as a competitor on the ice, she was very humble off the ice. She was very supportive of her teammates and her fellow competitors.
Off the ice, though, it was really clear that Sandra and her teammates, had a special connection. They were really tight. They had fun together. They really enjoyed each other's company. They were all in a special moment in time, the best team in Canada and the best team in the world.
Sandra's team had a huge goal, and that was to win the gold medal. It wasn't just to be an Olympian, to represent Canada. It was that gold, and being the first to win a gold medal just put that team right over the top.
After their win in Nagano, their gold medal win, Sandra was celebrating with her team and came over to me later and gave me a big hug and said, "We did it, Coach." And that just spoke to me of her sense of team and inclusion. Sandra loved her family. She was so proud to be a wife and a mom. She said that her best deliveries were giving birth to her girls.
When she had Jenna and Sarah, that was a real struggle for her to be away from Shannon and Sarah and Jenna, be in the limelight when she was just so proud to have two beautiful young daughters.
As the host of the Scotties opening banquet that year, they received a fact written by Sandra from her hospital room, and they asked me to read it. The one thing about Sandra, she never wanted anyone to feel sorry for her. And in that fact, she made it clear, I may not be doing well, but there are other things in life, and whatever the outcome, I'll be there. And when she wasn't there personally, in body, she was certainly there in spirit.
When Vic read the fact from Sandra at the closing banquet, I was very saddened.
There wasn't a dry eye in that room, and being reminded of that brings goosebumps all these years later. It was such a contradictory statement because she sounded so hopeful in the words that he read, yet the facts we knew about her condition were so serious and so contrasting in perspective. Your mind knew you had to think one thing, but your heart wanted to think something different about the situation.
I've read many things over the course of a career, but never something that touched so many people and quieted a room as that fax did. And little did we know at that moment that we would lose her 5 days later.
Sandra and her words of wisdom provided perspective for all of us in terms of let's not lose sight of this is a game. We play this to have fun. Every day is a gift. Don't ever lose sight of that perspective.
Take the expression Sandra being called the Queen of Curling. That came not only from her accomplishments as an athlete, but also how she appeared as a person. People who were watching her on television or watching her in arena were drawn to her because they saw someone who had obviously worked very hard at their sport, but they also represented themselves in such a way that people were attracted to her. And I think the young people who were watching Sandra felt that I could do that. You know, she inspired other people to get out and try. And I think she inspired her fellow athletes to up their game.
It was so devastating to lose Sandra, especially in what was really the prime of her career as a curler. I don't think she was finished leaving her mark on the Canadian competitive curling landscape. But it's awfully wonderful what she did to pave the way for today's curlers. And I think she'd be really proud about the foundation she set and where competitive women's curling has become as a result of the path she charted for us.
When I look back and see Sandra's legacy live on, it's an honor to have played against her, to laugh with her, and watch her smile.